Hello again, this is Azraelle. Welcome back to my series on YouTube featuring the MegaFactory in Factorio. Come along with me as we finally get Blue Science up and running. And one thing I want to say beforehand is that you'll notice just how frustrating this is because Blue Science is one of the more complicated things to set up in this game. It requires 4 ingredients, 3 of which I'm already producing. So you'd think it would be pretty easy, right? No, except that the final part that I have yet to produce are batteries, and that is going to take a long time to get this all up and running. The problem with batteries is because there's so many steps involved in creating the batteries. You got to do your fluid processing, you got to turn your petroleum gas into a solid, and then the solid back into a fluid, and then the fluid into a battery. So this is going to be an adventure, and to be perfectly honest, I had so many other plans for this episode, but Blue Science just took all my time, so we're just going to get this taken care of. Alright, over here I'm getting the spacing set up because I want to put the Blue Science right above my red circuit production, and eventually red circuit production is going to happen on both sides of that conveyor belt, not just one. So I want to have enough room there, and we'll also put potentially any power or beacons between them to improve their production or speed or whatever I decide to do later on. So here we go, finally get all that spaced out over there. And in the meantime, the filter inserter, which is the new smart inserter, courtesy of update 0.13, fortunately something I've already got set up. I'm just upgrading everything there to fast inserters and level 2 assemblers. And then it's just a matter of getting everything over into my base. I go ahead and start setting up the lines, and then there's a biter attack over in my mining facility, so I'm going to head over there. With the turrets repelled the attack, but not before they managed to take out a single power pole, so it shut down the entire production there. Go ahead and get that all set up. But then I say to myself, maybe I should take the fight to the biters, and realize I don't have enough turrets to do my traditional turret creep. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of that built up. While I'm over here, I'm going to make sure everything has enough ammunition, because I've got tons of it in my inventory. There's one, there's one, there's one. We're going to go ahead and take care of those. First order of business is the one in the southeast, and stop off at my stone production. My inventory is already filled up, because that actually repelled a biter attack earlier. I'm so glad I put that turret there. And then just as I get into position, biters start attacking my new Blue Science facility. So my initial plan is I'm just going to go ahead and take care of this turret creep and get rid of this base first. But because it takes forever to walk around if you don't have power armor or a vehicle. So I figure I'm already here, get it taken care of. But in the meantime, in the background, I keep hearing that alarm go off because they just keep destroying stuff that I just put down. So I'm trying to hurry it along over here to get this taken care of. And there we go, finally get everything settled. And then it won't let me pick up stuff because my inventory is full, so I take a couple of drastic measures trying to get that taken care of. A fruitless endeavor there a couple of times. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of a few things. Drop that old mining pick that I should have put in my junk box, but oh well. Alright, finally get back into the base, head over and see what kind of damage they did. I know I'm going to have to rebuild a few things. Yeah, they took out 5 of my assemblers and a whole line of the belts to get everything replaced that they destroyed there. What a nuisance. I'm going to go ahead and put up some turrets so that that doesn't happen again. In the meantime, let's just go ahead and get this continuing on. Alright, the first order of business is to bring over the first set of ingredients, which are going to be the red circuits and steel plates. The red circuits are right here. Going to go ahead and bring those up. Get everything under the main bus. And There it goes. And now the same thing for the steel over on the other side. This will be the first, actually no, quite the second thing that requires consistent amounts of steel. So I may have to upgrade the steel production in the future. And for number 3, I need to get some more belts. Ingredient number 3 is going to be these filter inserters. I'm going to bring those in under the main bus. And it's just kind of a tricky thing to set up because I don't quite know where I'm going to put everything, especially considering that I'm not even making the batteries yet. So in the meantime, there's another biter attack. I just want to make sure they're not destroying more of my base. The biggest issue that I have is trying to figure out where I want to put the sulfuric acid production. I know I'm going to need a couple of chemical plants, so there they go, crafting in my inventory. And I'm going to get prepared for some electric furnaces in the meantime, because I can finally make those, and those are going to be a big help. I need to make room in my inventory, though, so I'll finally get rid of all that coal I built up in the last episode. And there's a couple of furnaces, but unfortunately getting this, the rest of Blue Science set up is going to take all of my time, so I apologize for that. It's a single thing coming out here in this episode, but it certainly shows the dedication that it takes. So making sure I've got enough fast inserters, and there's some long arm inserters. Now I know I said a long time ago that I wanted to try to avoid using long arm inserters as much as I can, but in the case of Blue Science, every single vial takes 12 seconds to craft, and that's, you know, without all of the existing modifiers that go into the assembly plants. So suffice it to say, it takes forever, and the long arm inserter is not going to make that much of a difference. Just bringing over the inevitable blue, the line of Blue Science over into my research lab. So that's where it'll all go when it's finally up and running. And in the meantime, I know I'm going to want to make batteries up here in the main part of the factory, because Blue Science is not the only thing that uses batteries. Batteries are also done in accumulators and a couple of power armor peripherals. So I want them handy and accessible. Just trying to figure out where I want all these things. And then there's another biter that tries to come along and do some damage. These things are so annoying. Get a couple of turrets there, repair one that got damaged in the previous turret creep. And then it's basically just a matter of how I want to do the sulfuric acid production. Do I want to do it down in my oil processing area, or do I want to pipe in petroleum gas somewhere else and then do it there? In the meantime, I'm going to go take care of these biters because they're really becoming a pain in my neck. Just take care of this real quick. With all that ammunition in my inventory, it shouldn't be too big of a problem. And there are no worms in this nest, so it'll all be relatively quick. Just go ahead and take care of that. I'm not even going to worry about the shotgun ammo or preserving the armor piercing because I've got so much of it. Get everything repaired and picked up and back into the factory. That biter nest number 2, and I know that there was a third one up there, but I actually don't ever seem to get around to fixing it. Well, fixing them, I should say. Alright, in the meantime, here is the second line. That's all the filter inserters going down there. It's going to take some getting used to because they're purple now, and they used to be green back when they were actually smart inserters. And now the smart inserters are now called stack inserters, or rather the green inserters are now used for stack inserters, so that's going to be a little confusing. Just trying to figure out, once again, about if I wanted to do the sulfuric acid down here. Ideally, that would make more sense, because I'm trying to keep all of my fluid production in one area, and then just pipe it onto the main bus, eventually. So I go ahead and start crafting up some storage tanks, and want to keep my spacing motif here. Get rid of all those trees. that also gives me the benefit of finally being able to make more power poles, because I ran out of those while I was setting up the blue science area. Just getting more research. The research is finishing quicker than I can get blue science up and running, so I'm kind of on borrowed time if I don't want to waste any time. Originally I'm thinking I'm just going to do it right up here, get the sulfur, but then I realized the sulfuric acid requires iron plates. I really don't want to bus those in from the main bus all the way over here, so instead I just decided I'm going to bring petroleum gas over onto the main bus like I originally wanted to do, and then produce sulfuric acid on site. Because batteries if I'm remembering correctly, batteries are the only thing that actually use sulfuric acid, so that might be the only thing that I need them for, so it makes more sense to do them on site. Of course, later on, I could end up being completely wrong about that, but at least it's being done somewhere. I decided I'm going to put all of the copper line underground so that I can work with these pipes, and I keep running out of underground belts. There we go, bringing the petroleum gas into the area. And I realize that I also need to set up a part of my factory to create the pipes and the underground variants, because especially since they're so ridiculously easy. But because right now, again, everything is using iron plates, I just decided to do it in my inventory for now. It'll eventually be done because there's probably going to be a lot more of this going up in the future. I realized that I also need water up here. I'm going to have to pipe that in on the main bus as well. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up. Get all these pipes, trying to figure out how I'm going to put this onto the main bus. I'll just go ahead and pipe it around in a circle right there. More research to get those flammables. Normally I don't worry about flammables, but another thing in the 0.13 update was the changes to the flamethrower system, so it is a much more viable weapon. In fact, it may even now be the most powerful weapon against biters and such. So it's something I'm definitely going to have to reconsider. Normally I don't even touch it, because in the past the flamethrower was kind of a poor choice. Anyhow, there's the power in the blue science. Of course, it's not going to finish because we still don't have those batteries in there. We're working on it, though. Accumulators are next, and good timing, too, because we'll be getting the batteries done for them as well. Just getting everything piped in. I'm going to need another set of water pipes for the sulfuric acid up top. And there's some more biter attacks down here in my fluid processing. And the biters have committed a cardinal sin of destroying an odd number of underground pipes. So now I'm going to always have an excess in my inventory. Unless, of course, the biters want to come along and destroy another one. In which case, I'd almost be grateful. But anyway, just trying to figure out everything that needs to be done here. I'm going to have to move these boxes over again by one more tile. Get everything lined up. And it's time to bring the water into my main bus. Get these power lines out of my way. I'm going to have to do something about those later as well. And once again, I'm out of pipes. I'm going to have to craft up a bunch more of those. While those are crafting, I'm going to go plan out my route. I'll just pipe in the water here. The interesting thing about this map is that aside from the water that was in the starting area, I have not found any large lakes or bodies of water. Mainly because I haven't had all that much time to explore yet, but and I'm sure that there are lakes out there somewhere. I just haven't actually found them. But for what it's worth, the water in the starting area will be fine. So I'm just gonna, and eventually I'm gonna need it for the advanced oil processing. So I'm gonna have that set up as well. Go ahead and pipe that in from the lake down there. Works perfectly. And there's water going up into my production area. except that it's not. Did I miss a few? There's another biter. Those annoying things up there. I'm gonna go figure out why the water is not up there. And it's because I didn't connect up these corner pieces. There we go. Now the water's going up there. And sulfur rather, is just churning away. So there's one more step in this ridiculously long chain of things that need to happen. Now it's just a matter of where I want to put these storage tanks for the sulfuric acid. Do I want to put them over here? And originally I'm thinking, yeah, because that way I can just extend my sulfur production out to the left. But then I'm thinking, this is more than enough sulfur production for now. I'll give myself enough room to set up like 2 more of those, and that should be plenty. But in the meantime, I also need to bring in some iron plates to create the sulfuric acid. And this radar installation is right in my way. So get rid of that. I'll put it back up later. And I think it's time to start, since I finally actually fixed the iron supply somewhat in the previous episode, I think it's time I can be safe to bring in all 4 lanes of my iron bus. I need more belts, and so I want to go ahead and get all that. That'll fixing my circuit area to feed off of the left side instead of bringing it in from the right. That all looks good. And that's just one input line. Imagine when I have all 4, they're just going to be iron plates endlessly in the future. Or so a man can dream. Anyway, here come the plates, and instantly the sulfuric acid production goes into full tilt. And that's a thing of beauty. Now, the final step to just create the batteries. There was another biter attack there, but they weren't doing anything major. Okay, getting some more research done. I'm almost out of the red-green research, but that's okay, because blue science is right around the corner. I can almost taste it. Okay, now, I also need copper plates. I figure I'm just going to use the same bus here for the sulfuric acid, because it's really not using all that much. Once again, had to get rid of that radar installation. But since I've kind of got the infrastructure there, that's good enough. This thing doesn't need to look pretty; it just needs to work. And I'm just going to go ahead and put the battery production over here on this side. Trying to figure out how I want all that lined up. I'll have the plates feed in from the top, the sulfuric acid from the bottom. It hooks right up to those storage tanks, so that's perfect. Bring in the rest of the belt, get everything powered up, more research to get in the way, finally get those laser turrets up and running. Laser turrets is something also that I've never really relied heavily on, because it drains a lot from the power, so... But it's an interesting trade-off because they don't actually require ammunition, so I'll probably have both throughout my base. And there we finally have it. Batteries are being produced. Yay! Finally! Now I just need to go bring that into the rest of my blue science bus. And there it goes. Look at it go. Blue science, finally! Go ahead and set up a storage chest there, a little buffer chest. But then I realized I'm not making enough batteries. So, instead of having the 2, I'm going to set up 4. And there we go. Get everything lined up. You just follow the same pattern as before. That power pole is right in the way. I could move it, but I don't want to be bothered right now because I just want to get this done. I had so many other things I wanted to do this episode, but this took all my time. There we go. Now there's 4 battery things making for blue. Yeah, my words are disappearing because I'm just so happy to see those going. And it's still only going down about 8 assemblers or so. So instead of 4, I'm going to make 6. I'm just going crazy now. There we go. Get everything set up. Exactly the same system as I did before. I don't want to. My brain at this point was tired of thinking. It just mate everything going. And there we go. There's 6 battery productions, and we're at the end of the episode. So I will see you again, and never stop building.